Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Brokerpreneur Podcast. I am Dr. Ben Spears. I'm here with the big guy as usual, Matt By. How's it going, Matt?
Man, you got to say the ambassador of flow, Ben. You can't.
I completely forgot. Here's the thing. I already know what I'm going to say next, and I'm so excited to get to it that I skipped over the thing where I'm the thing.
The ambassador of flow.
Well, I actually have, there's another title that I was given.
Here we go.
I was
Everybody hold on, hang on, buckle up.
I was talking to one of our listeners on LinkedIn, and she said she called me the king of flow.
I love it.
And I'm like, I kind of like that better. So I'm thinking I might just change that. I think I might just
king of flow.
Yeah, I was the ambassador of flow, but I'm from this point on.
Why would
hear ye?
Why would you just be an ambassador when you can
I can
rule
be
the
king,
kingdom?
man. I am the king of flow. Boom. So, Alex, if you're out there listening,
Yeah,
I'm the king of flow, and it is all because of you.
Right.
So, Matt.
yeah, Ben.
So I was, a
Mr.
lot of
King
people,
Man.
a lot of people don't know this, right? Like, we'll get to what we're talking about in a second, guys. But a lot of people don't know this. But I do a lot of our editing.
Yep.
And for the podcast, our videos, YouTube ads, that kind of stuff. I was doing an edit this morning. I was going through some of our footage or whatever. Guys. Matt probably knows where I'm going with this.
I do. I just dropped my head.
Yeah. And if you're not listening, if you're not watching this on YouTube, then I'll try and at least describe it well enough. And it's just the footage, before what we were actually shooting. I'm dealing with the camera and this teleprompter and all this kind of stuff. And I'm asking Matt, like, how's it look? Is this okay? Is that okay? And I accidentally turn it off. Right, I hit the power button.
Right.
And I'm probably looking at the device, being like, what in the hell did I just do? Like, how do I fix it? But on the footage, Matt, when I do it, just in sheer disgust, drops his head, looks straight to the ground. He's like,
The button's on the side, man.
You just turned it off. He said, he drops his head, he gives it like this little shake in disappointment. He's like, you just turned it off. And it's probably my favorite clip of anything I've watched in the last 3 years.
and guys, that's a lot of clips. Oh
yeah.
So there's of course we tried to outsource things, right? And it's just not. Ben is very particular about the content and what's in it and lighting and audio and all that kind of stuff. And so we could outsource stuff to people, and whenever we did, it would always come back and it was just trash, right?
Yeah.
And so Ben doesn't allow people to mess with the edits, right? Which I love, I appreciate that, but he doesn't allow everybody to mess with the edits. But that also means when it's time to produce something, Ben's like, Matt, you have to sit a little bit straighter up. You have to do this. You have to change that. My wife's in the background telling me to blot my forehead so there's no oil on. The lighting isn't right, so we've got to change this, and I have to move and all that kind of stuff. And then right as we get it right where it's at,
I hit the power button.
It's the power button.
You just turned it off. I'll hear that in my sleep tonight. You just turned it off.
So we're gonna have to put that out there so everybody can see it.
Yeah. We're gonna throw that in the LinkedIn group, guys.
Funny.
If you want, I'll clip that piece, and I'll put it in the LinkedIn group. If you want to see it and kind of have a good laugh with me. Go to LinkedIn, Brokerpreneur Podcast, guest/broker mastermind. Asked to join. Of course, we will let you in.
It's so funny.
And we just have a good time.
And there's also some other clips in there, some other stuff that's just funny. That's
and informative.
Yeah, and informative. Absolutely.
We call it infotainment around here.
That's exactly right. We wouldn't have it any other way.
That's because we're so passionate and we're creative, Matt.
Hey, Ben, I got an idea. Why don't we talk about passion and creativity?
We should talk a little bit about that
Let's
today.
do that.
Why don't you tell us what we're, kind of give us a little breakdown, and then I'll let everybody know how to follow us.
Yeah. So you hear people talk about all the time, especially agents that are in the business and everything. They're just like, I'm so passionate about the business. I really care about people, and I love walking through houses and helping them and all that kind of stuff, right? But what you don't hear people say a whole lot in real estate is, I'm a really creative person, right? You just don't hear that as much out of people, right? But both of those matter whenever it comes to recruiting. And sometimes people are passionate about things, which leads to creativity. And sometimes people are creative, which leads to passion. And how do you identify that whenever you're talking to a recruit? That's what we're going to dig into a little bit today, because it matters. It makes a difference on whether they're a good fit for your office or not. Right?
Yep, 100%. Guys, you know the routine. Wherever you're listening or watching this, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. We are so grateful to have you as part of the Brokerpreneur community. That lets all these platforms, tells the algorithm that we're doing a good job, and so that helps us out a lot and lets us know that you like what we're doing. There's no better time than right now, or maybe after the podcast, than to go to brokerpreneurpodcast.com and sign up for our weekly newsletter. We pack so much, love and recruiting infotainment also into that. We would love to have that in your inbox once a week, just to continue adding value to you. So Matt, passion versus creativity.
Yep.
When you're recruiting, right? It's like sometimes you're recruiting someone who's like brand new.
Right.
Sometimes you're recruiting someone who's been like doing this forever, or in the middle, right? Anywhere in the middle. How do you tell, or what do you do if someone's just like not really passionate about real estate?
Yet,
or they used to be and they're not anymore, or that kind of
right. Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to categorize those two things. Okay. And here's why we want to categorize them. Passion is more of a mindset. Okay. Creativity is more of a skill set.
Yeah.
Right. So let me give you kind of an example, a breakdown between the two of those and why they kind of matter. Right. Someone might not be passionate about real estate, but they're really creative, and so they're good at marketing, and so they figure out how to generate leads, and they figure out how to change a yard sign so it gets more attention on open houses, and they figure out how to pull more leads off of a website, or what lead magnet they use, or what drip campaign they use, and they're creative, and maybe they're more marketing minded and all that kind of stuff, and those people are really good at getting better at something else, and they're not passionate about, man, I want to find these people a house. But they're passionate about, there's a problem, I want to solve it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's absolutely somebody that would be great to be on the team. The flip side of it is, some people are just going to stay up till 3 a.m. finding that right house because they got people getting off the plane at 7 a.m. Right. And so understanding who that is in your organization makes all the difference whenever you hire them, because, sometimes you look at people, and if you're a really passionate person, and you see them spending time on things that you're like, well, if you just spent more time with your customers, you wouldn't have, right? And maybe that's just not where their head is. Maybe that's just not where they want to. Okay, so you understanding the difference between the two of those and who you are in that situation is going to help one understand who it is that you're attracting. Right. So if you're that really creative person, you've got that skill set, you love to make something new, and you love to solve problems, and you're very good at that, and that's what you want to spend time on. If you're not careful, you spend time on that, but it doesn't have anything to do with growing your brokerage the right way.
Yeah.
And when I say the right way, I mean if your focus is profitability, you're not growing in that direction.
Yeah.
So understanding, one, that passion is a mindset, and that creativity is a skill set, and then two, who you are, because you're going to automatically be drawn to people that are like you, right? And people that are like you are going to, okay. So understanding that, the difference between the two and who you are, is going to help you understand who you're attracting.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, we talk to people and they love systemizing, and they love, they're great at creating marketing, and they're great at their systems and everything are in place and all that kind of stuff and everything. But whenever it comes time to hire those top producers, they're struggling to hire those top producing teams that are out there being passionate about their business, and they don't know what the disconnect is and why the difference is the two. It's because where you're putting your effort and your energy. Okay.
Yeah.
That really breaks down into personality. We talk about that in a bunch of different podcasts. We're not going to get into that right now, but the breakdown between the two of those really has a lot to do with how you prioritize. It has a lot to do with your personality. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're out there, you're a recruiter, you're the broker, you're the manager, either way, you're the one in charge of setting appointments, and maybe performing the interview as well. I've heard you say this, and never on a podcast before, but I've heard you say this in coach calls, that kind of thing. there's there's a way to test, right, the passion, the creativity, in that interview process or in that appointment setting process, depending on where you put this. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So you ask them some questions, right? About, what is it that you're struggling with in your business? Okay. And then you really listen to the answer. Do they talk about developing a skill set to get better at solving that problem? Or did they just talk about buckling down, leaning in, and just being more passionate about what is out there, right? Because most problems in real estate, if you pay attention, if you keep working hard, if you look around, you can get through it, right?
Yeah.
It's not the most efficient way of doing things, but you can.
Yep.
And so sometimes that's what passionate people do, right? People that are just focused on what they love about it. That's what they do, is they go, okay, I'm just going to keep trying. I'm going to keep doing the right thing. I'm going to stay my course, and they end up getting past those things. But if you ask someone in an interview, so tell me, what are you struggling with right now, and how are you trying to solve that? And you really listen for the answer, and they say, oh, well, I'm really struggling with, let's just say, lead generation, right? I'm really struggling with lead generation. So what I did is, I went to the board office and took a class, and it got me introduced to this company that's doing this, and I realized that some of what they're doing fits my business and some of it doesn't fit my business. So, I took a closer look at it, and this is what I think I'm going to do to generate some more business, right? That's a completely different answer than if you say, well, so tell me what you do about lead generation, how you build your business. Well, I just really take care of my customers. I get a lot of referrals, and right.
Yeah.
So those are, and not that taking care of your people isn't a skill set. Okay. Let's be careful about that. Being passionate doesn't mean that it doesn't take skills to be passionate and succeed with that. Right.
Yes.
But what is that driving force, right? Is what we're actually talking about. So when you ask that, and you're leaning into that answer, and you're really paying attention to what it is that they're saying, and they're saying, one of those two things are kind of in those categories. Which one of those is resonating with you? Right? That's important.
As the recruiter.
As the recruiter.
Yep.
And as the representative for the company, right? If they say, oh, well, I really love, the relationships, and I get a lot of referral business from the people, and I make sure that, I'm constantly sending out things, and I give, great gifts and at closings, and then, I make sure I send a handwritten card that says, I love your referrals, and all that kind of stuff. That's absolutely something that's going to help you generate more business. But if you as a recruiter are sitting there going, man, that's not going to work. They need to make more phone calls. They need to have a system for how they make phone calls. And if I can really help them with understanding the script and all that kind of stuff, what you're basically doing is you're saying this thing that you're passionate about doing it this way that's working for you. Notice they didn't say, I need your help making this better.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to be careful when you're sitting there. Which of those two do you lean towards the most? Are you more a creative person that wants to solve their problem and put something in place that solves it? Or are you someone that's looking at it and going, man, they're really passionate about this. I love this, and that's how I want to do business. You have to understand who you are, and then you have to lean into their answer. And then at that point, you can help them decide. Once you talk it through, you can help them decide what the best way forward for them is.
Hey guys, this podcast is powered by Prospect Boomerang.
We all know broker owners struggle with profitability. Prospect Boomerang compounds your profits by recruiting the best agents to your brokerage.
For consistent growth, visit prospectboomerang.com. Yeah, and so, again, and I'm just, this is how I transition people. Once we understand, where they are, if they're a good fit, and you want to go, right, we're going to talk about how you dig in deeper, the why, the how, and the what. But this is also, just throwing this in, this is also a great place to at least introduce your training.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah. So whenever you ask someone, so tell me about a problem that you recently had, and how are you solving it? And they say, well, I went to let's stick with the same exact example. I did this, and I went to a class at the board office, and all that kind of stuff. That's when you can say things like, well, that's great. That's an excellent way of solving that problem. That's part of the reason why our training is structured the way that our training is structured. Yeah. And now if you start talking about your training in a way of that, if you ask that question and they give you that answer, and you really listen to that answer, and they said, this is the system I'm trying to put in place, and this is the way I'm trying to create my solution to this. And then you start talking to them about a passionate solution. And we have a training class, but what really would make a difference is if you just really paid closer attention to the customers that you're dealing with, and if you really started doing this, and if you really started doing that, they're going to lean back and go, wait a minute, you asked me how I solved this problem. I'm working on how I said to solve that problem, and now you're telling me to go in a completely different direction than what I feel. Right? You're shutting them down. They're not going to be interested in that solution.
Absolutely.
So you're saying it in a way to get them to speak up, and then what you're doing, just like with everything we talk about with our clients, once you truly understand what it is that they're struggling with, you can take a look at your toolbox and say, okay, this tool is what's going to help with that situation.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, hey, you've got a problem, and I know you've got a problem. Here's all the tools. Which one of these tools is going to fix that door?
Dump them out on the.
That's right.
Dump them out in front of them.
Right, and so that's when you talk about your training specific to that. Right.
Yeah.
You went to the board office and you did this. That's actually why we do this mastermind group that we do. That whatever, fill in the blank. Right.
Yep. Exactly. So I kind of mentioned this just a second. Let's go into where we actually start digging in. With the agent in that interview. Right.
Right.
Let's talk about specifically about their why, their how, and their what, and what's next. And how you would take that information and process it and say, if they say these things, this is where my mind's going.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you said, so tell me about what you're struggling with, and they say it's lead generation and everything, you want to ask the question, so why did you really start looking at your lead generation? Okay, and that means did they not have enough business? Or were they getting a lot of leads and the leads weren't converting because they weren't a great quality lead or whatever the deal is? You need to take a look at the why of why they dug into that problem.
Yeah.
Because if you said, hey, what problem were you having and how did you try to solve it? Hopefully what they would say is, this is my number one problem.
Okay.
But that's not always the issue. Sometimes when you ask a great question like that in an interview, they're going to go with kind of a default answer. Right? As soon as you start talking about the why, they're going to transition because they've got a minute to think, right? They took a Twix moment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so now they're going to start thinking and everything, and they're going to say, yeah, leads is a big part of it and everything, but honestly, really the big thing is I want to make more money because of this. Bam. Now because you've started to go deeper into that, you're not going to spend the next 20 minutes talking about a solution that wasn't really what they wanted to solve. They were just giving you an answer because you asked them a great question and they kind of got caught off guard with it and they hadn't thought it through. And so they're just giving you for lack of a better way, a defensive or default answer, right?
Gotcha.
So that's why you start with so tell me why is that the first thing that you dug into, or tell me why that's impacting your business, right?
Yep.
Then the how. Okay. After you ask them the why and they start talking about it and hopefully they open up a little bit and everything, then you're going to talk about the how, right? So how did you go about solving this? Did you just, go on the internet and look for a solution? Did you go on YouTube and try to figure it out? Right.
Yeah.
Did you not realize you had the problem and then you were sitting at the board office with another class and you saw this big poster that said, hey, coming up, the next class is really about leads. And you're like, crap, I could use some more leads. Right. How is it that you kind of got to that point, and how is it that you started applying that solution to what it was you were trying to accomplish? And then the what, that's the actual implementation of it. And then what type of results did you get, right? That's whenever you start going back and remeasuring it, right? So if they say this is my big problem and you start talking through that and you get them to open up their head to why it's really their big problem, and then you get to really look at, hey, what kind of solution could you get and how did you end up with that solution? Is that the best one for you? And then you start talking about what results and how close they are and everything. Think about how they're going to feel about that conversation. That's going to be more powerful than any conversation you could ever have about commission split with somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. They're going to go, oh, wait a minute, man, that was a really helpful conversation.
Yeah, they get it.
They get it. And then, and it's not like they're not going to say, well, tell me about your commission split. Because of course they are. Because of course that matters, right?
Yeah.
Compensation matters,
yeah,
right?
4 pillars.
That's exactly right. So, but now it's a different conversation. Now they know that part of the money that you're getting, you know how to earn it.
Yeah.
The money that they're getting from that split, whatever that is, whether it's a flat fee or whether it's, whatever, right? They know that you're earning it because you talked to them about a problem that they had in their business. You qualified that that was really the problem. You asked them how they were going to solve it. You taught them how to look back at the results to see if it was really a solution or not. And you did all of that in one of the first conversations that you really had with them. How are they not excited about you being a leader or a partner in their business?
Yeah, no one wants to feel like they're just making somebody else rich.
Right. Right. And making somebody money and not getting anything in exchange.
Yep, exactly.
And so now in that first conversation, you've already said, here's how I can be valuable to you. By the way, somebody that comes on board that likes that from you and you do that on a consistent basis does not get hired away from you because of commission split.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, because they started for the right reasons. Guys, before Matt drops that action item on everybody, Matt, you got anything else?
No, we could talk about this one all day, right?
I know. You had that look in your eye. Just a twinkle.
Right. Yeah. And so looking at the passion versus creativity, where we kind of started this conversation, how they solve their problem and how they talk about solving their problem is going to lead you into that next part of that conversation. And I promise it's just going to open up a ton of doorways for you of them feeling that rapport with you that they want, that makes making that decision easier.
Yeah, I love it. Well, guys, if you're listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, any of those platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. If you're watching this on the YouTubes, hit that red subscribe button, that bell right beside it. You get notified every time we drop a new episode. Go check out prospectboomerang.com. That's where Matt and I have so many cool things to help you, no matter where your brokerage is in any phase or any stage of growth. We just have to kill it. We want to be part of your win there as well, guys. So Matt, hit us up with an action item.
So take a look back at your business. What is the last thing that you tried to create, or what was the last thing that you were passionate about, right? Mindset or skill set about recruiting. Go back and take a look.
Yeah.
What is the last thing that you were just like, were you explaining commission split to somebody and the 5 recruits just didn't get it? And so now you created a graphic that made it easy for them to understand what it was that they got and when they got it. Was it something that talked about your 4 recruiting pillars, right?
Yeah.
Was it something that talked about how lead generation works with your company? Did you hire it out, right? Did you go to Fiverr and say, hey, here's the thing that I need built, go build this for me? What's the last thing that you did to make your recruiting better? And how engaged were you in it? Did you just as the broker, go to the board office and somebody says, oh yeah, I can build you a website that helps with recruiting, right? I got a page that recruiting, and you're like, okay, here's a check, go get them, Tiger. Not that that's not solving a problem, especially if you have a crappy careers page. But what it's doing is you're not being passionate about that, right? Yeah. You're just using creativity, a skill set to get a solution and move forward. So take a look at the last thing that you did that you created, and look at why you created that.
Yep, I love it. Matt.
Yeah, Benny.
Yeah, I already have I'm already thinking of the next intro of the next podcast we're getting ready to shoot here in a second. I can't wait, guys. Tune into the next one. It's gonna be, you're gonna learn something about me. But Matt, everybody else, man, they're learning so much. Right, straight from the 6 inches, maybe 7, between your ears.
Right.
And you do that with me for one reason alone. Tell them why that is, man.
Because you're the king of flow.
I need some music. I like to play whenever I see. Exactly.
Here comes the hail to the chief. Or it's because we want to be part of their win.
I think it might be that one.
Yeah.